Now, I want to speak a little bit about the impacts that living through the protests of January and February had on both of you. Ms. Delaronde, can you describe for the Commissioner what was the impact, if any, on your physical well-being?
The impact on my physical well-being is quite extensive. I certainly, during the experience, had difficulty sleeping. I had an effect on my lungs and my throat because of the fumes and other smells. And I also have long-term effects.
Can you describe those for us?
The long-term effects are loss of hearing, loss of balance, some vertigo, triggered by the sound of any horn now, triggered by certain music, as the music was very loud, and a physical trigger when I get a smell of gas. Both my throat and lungs start to feel infected. I had also a phantom horn blowing as an experience for a number of weeks after.
On these intersections, oftentimes there were illegal bonfires and just trash burning right next to, cans of fuel, or near the same areas where these individuals would later set off fireworks. And I just remember feeling like it was such a surreal sight. It almost felt like you were in something like The Purge, because though I didn't often see direct acts of violence, there was a certain chaos on the streets.
I understand that you had the interactions with the protesters and you confronted them on Kent Street. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. And when you confronted those protesters, do you remember saying to them, which was recorded, go back to where the f you were from?
I may have said that.
Okay. And I take it that you never saw any of the, or never said to the commission or saw any protesters or truckers physically harm anyone, is that right?
There was only I would describe it as intimidation with a truck.
Okay. And you never said to the commission, and nothing in that regard with respect to seeing protesters or truckers threatening to physically harm anyone either, did you?
I did not make that statement.
All right. And you didn't say to the commission or see anything in your observations that could be classified as espionage or sabotage?
I'm sorry?
You didn't see anything that could be classified as espionage or sabotage?
No.
Thank you. And you didn't say to the commission or observe any of the protesters or truckers destroy or light a fire any buildings or anything like that?
Not inside of any buildings, no, just outside.
Outside. So you're saying that they were destroying the outside of buildings?
I did not say that. I said they were lighting fires outside of buildings, as in the bonfires that were all over the city.
Right, but they weren't trying to knock down any form of buildings or property or anything like that?
I can't comment to their intentions.
Well, I understand their intentions, but I submit you didn't see them do anything like that.
Nope, I just saw the fires, open fires.
Great, and you didn't see them try to destroy any other trucks or vehicles or light them afire or anything?
I did not.
Thank you. In your evidence, you made use of a term you referred to as microaggression. Is that right?
I believe so, multiple times.
Okay. Is microaggression, is your understanding of that it means verbal and environmental slights?
Je suis francophone, donc si vous voulez être spécifique sur les mots, il va falloir...
I'm francophone, so if you want to ask me specific things about words, you're going to have to ask me in French. You're asking me a theory about how to define something. Unfortunately, my knowledge of English terminology is perhaps not sufficiently appropriate, Commissioner.
Je m'appelle Brendan.
My name is Brendan.
I think, it is funny, but it's not. I am doing my very best to answer clear questions in English. You asked me a very specific question on a definition. I'm saying, ask me, clarify in French, and I'm glad to specify if it is yes or no. The specificity of the nuance of a word, I'm uncomfortable in responding to your question.
What of the words that I put to you and there's a few, so means, verbal, and environmental and slights is confusing. Is there, which one are you confused about?
J'ai expliqué plusieurs fois.
I've already explained. Try to express this, and I've explained this to the commissioner, that to my mind, everything in the periphery of the red zone was what I would describe as being microaggressions. I could describe microaggressions to you. For example, go in front of somebody and pull their mask off. I don't know how we want to describe that as a definition, but that's an example of a microaggression. Walking into a restaurant, being asked to leave and sitting down without having the right to stay, that's another microaggression. Fighting somebody who's homeless, beating somebody who's homeless, that's another microaggression. Another type of aggression. Making so much noise at such high volumes that you have to close down a daycare, that's another kind of aggression. That's how I've described aggressions, Commissioner. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a background in specifics, but I'm trying to use the terminology that I can to be as specific as possible to describe what I received as information and what I was able to see.
Get him a pair of these so he can understand what I'm saying in English as well, please.
Oh, that's mean.
Is that possible?
God, there's so many.
Do you need this? Would you like one of these for when I question you in English, because I'm unfortunately incapable of speaking French?
And I will do my very best to answer in English, but it was a very, I don't need it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So you had said that beating up a homeless person was an aggression, at least the translation. That's what it was. That's more of an assault. So had you witnessed any homeless people get beaten up by protesters?
No, if you recall my intervention, the Shepherds of Good Hope is located at the corner of King Edward and Murray. There was an incident with a client. The executive director reached out to me to inform me of the incident.
Okay. And were any charges laid?
I have no clue.
Okay. Who was the individual who was beaten? Do you know?
I have no clue.
Okay. Thanks.